Yo, 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 welcome to the show. Welcome to the Social Sunshine Podcast, episode 210. I'm your hostess, Brittany Crossan. This is important. We have to teach our kids not to be social media trolls. Bottom line, we have to go out of our way to have these discussions with our kids. They have to be told specifically, not just, hey, don't be an asshole, right? Because we should be teaching them not to be assholes as well, just in general in real life. But we have to specifically say, when you're online, you better watch your mouth. You better watch your behavior. This is important. This is very important. And I don't see enough people having this conversation publicly, so I'm bringing it up. And look, we have conversations publicly about the safety of children and their privacy on online in general. And I personally, like my kids, as of right now in fall of 2023, they're 9 and 12, and they are not allowed to have social media on their devices. They have tried. Trust me, they are not perfect angels. No children are. And I have then caught them and removed it. And that just goes to show that any kiddo, even the sweetest kiddo in the world, is probably going to try something on you. So watch out. All right. But, even so, we need to have these conversations, because I think that the reason why I'm noticing, and maybe you have noticed, that it seems that a lot of social media trolls are coming from younger voices is because these younger people are literally not mature enough to handle these kinds of situations and conversations. Like, think about back in the day and say that there was some sort of big event or whatever for some big thing happening, some big cause or something, right? Just like the way somebody might post on social media for like a cause that they really believe in, right? And imagine just letting your, 11-year-old just wander into the event and just start talking shit to the person that that is speaking up, and that is just imagine. And then imagine just being like, cool, yeah, go have that conversation with all those grown-ups. I'm sure that'll go great. It's not okay. And so because they're not equipped to handle certain conversations yet, and that's custom to each person, right? Everybody kind of like matures at their own rate, so you never know. They're going into situations that they shouldn't be, and then they're talking shit, and then bad things can happen behind the scenes whenever people troll on social media or online in general, right? Like, how many horror stories have we heard? Absolute horror stories. The worst case scenario of things happening to young people because they were bullied online, or because some weird fucking stranger told them, oh yeah, you should go do this bad thing. And then they went and did it. One of those stories is too many. And I've heard way fucking more than one. And I just want to talk about this because I think whenever we talk about things more openly, it just helps spread the word and helps just like remind people, this is one of those conversations I should have with my kid. And I've already, since my kids were little, been having conversations with them about how much our words and our actions can impact others, and how we should never go out of our way to hurt people's feelings, and that it's going to happen accidentally. And that when it does, how to handle that and how to be kind and loving. Like, and they're not perfect. Like they've fucked up, right? Like, all kids fuck up, but that's why we have to always have these conversations. And whether your kids actually have access to social media or not yet, it's still an important conversation to have. It's really important, because I think that one, like I said, just talking about things in general just helps kind of get the topic flowing, so that it's just more normal to see it and to communicate about it. But I think that a lot of parents, now there's some household situations that are negative, and I understand that, and that's a whole other topic in itself that we can't solve right now in a few minutes. But like, I think that also a lot of parents make an assumption that their kid won't be the one. Like, my kid's not going to go and say rude things on the internet to others, right? But nobody perfect. Even the kindest humans in the world fuck up. And especially children at their maturity level, their little brains have not even finished forming yet. They're going to mess up. My kids are very sweet people. They have good hearts. They live in a loving home that's generally peaceful and kind. We have a nice, positive life for the most part. We have our shitty days, but for the most part, they live in a really great home, and they still have had moments where it's a little borderline. In their little, I go and I snoop, in their little conversations and their little text messages with their friends and shit like that. And granted, they're not like attacking their friends or anything like that, but, saying things that are a little borderline. It's like, oh, wait a minute. What did you mean by this? Oh, yeah, it's a joke, or whatever. It's like, yeah, but not everybody's going to think that's funny. All right, we need to have this conversation. So I just think that that's a mistake. It's like, my kids wouldn't be the one, but anybody's kids could be the one. And we have to keep that in mind, and we have to have the conversations. The end. We have to teach our kids not to be social media trolls. It's so important. This is not something that our parents, like, okay, look, I'm 43 as of right now. This is fall of 2023, right? This is not something that my parents had to teach me because social media didn't exist. In fact, the internet didn't even fucking exist, not publicly for public use, whenever I was a kid, right? I was born in 1980. My parents didn't have to have this conversation. They only had to talk about the real life stuff, but the whole cyber world thing is a whole other story. So those of us that are parents right now, we're kind of like that. We're that first batch of humans, really, that are having to do this. And we don't all know how to do all the things. So we have to be in it together. We have to navigate it together. And we have to all talk about it more. And we all have to agree that it's a priority to teach our kids that what they say and do online really matters. And that people mess up, but whenever there's a mess up, we've got to try to correct it, or we've got to also, just as the grownups, be there to restrict their usage and to monitor what they're doing and all that stuff. Because even if they don't mean necessarily so much bad on somebody, bad can still happen. All right. I would love to know your thoughts on this. If you would, message the show or message me and tell me your thoughts. Leave a comment if you're watching the video version of this episode on YouTube. I want to know, what kind of tips can you offer up to help other parents when it comes to social media and their kids, and helping teach their kids the etiquette and the right way to do things and what to avoid and all that. I want us to kind of come together on this and really help each other because it's new. It's new in the big picture of life, and it's important for us to talk about. So please leave the comments, send the messages to the Social Sunshine Podcast, to me, Brittany Crossan, comment on our YouTube videos, reach out, and we want to know all your ideas, and we will continue to help spread this message. Thank you so much for listening to the show today, and I'll talk to you later.